While far too many people fall for the narratives of panic and fear, I stick to my curiosity about people in other places of the world and what we can learn from them. And that's what our series here at Exploring Brain and Mind of what the world can learn from ... is about. We have already visited some very interesting places in the past few episodes, and I've got another 3 places in mind. And today we turn to a country with some of the richest philosophical cultures on earth, and that is India. India's wisdom traditions are vast, many of which have shaped global practices of meditation, mindfulness, and holistic well-being. What makes Indian philosophy extraordinary is that it offers not only spiritual guidance but also a science of the mind, developed thousands of years before neuroscience existed. Imagine that. So today we will explore what Western societies can learn from Indian teachings and wisdom, especially about purpose, consciousness, compassion, discipline, and the nature of reality. If you are into meditation, mindfulness, yoga, something like that, you might find quite a few of these concepts maybe quite familiar to you already. But as it tends to be, there is always one or the other tiniest bit sometimes that you can pick up that you might not have known. So let's start with the first concept, and that is Dharma, which is living with purpose and integrity. Dharma is one of India's most fundamental concepts, often translated as duty, purpose, right action, or moral alignment. But Dharma is more than obligation. It's about living in accordance with your values, your nature, your strengths, and your ethical responsibilities to the world, which I think many people are either not aware of, ignorant of, or just blatantly abusing, as in pretending something is good for the planet, which it is actually not. Dharma teaches that well-being comes from alignment, not achievement. Modern neuroscience confirms when our actions align with our values, the brain's reward circuits activate. Moral alignment reduces stress and increases emotional coherence. And it also confirms that purpose enhances resilience and cognitive longevity, or longevity. I never get it right with that word. So living in Dharma is living in mental harmony. The lesson is that Western culture often measures success externally. Dharma invites us to measure success internally, like by the integrity of our choices. The second concept is Ahimsa, non-violence in thought, word, and action. Ahimsa is well known as the principle of non-violence, but in Indian philosophy it goes far deeper. Ahimsa means compassionate thinking, conscious speech, gentle behavior, and choosing not to harm, not even emotionally. Ahimsa shaped leaders like Gandhi, who inspired movements of peaceful resistance around the world. What is the mind-brain connection? Compassion practices strengthen our empathy circuits, oxytocin release, emotional regulation, and social bonding. Conversely, anger and aggression activate the stress pathway, fight or flight, increasing cortisol and decreasing long-term well-being. The key lesson is that Ahimsa teaches that peace is not passive. It is an active discipline of kindness, restraint, and intention. The third concept is Prana, life energy and the power of breath. Prana refers to life force, similar to Ki in Chinese culture or the Ha in Hawaiian culture. The energy that animates mind and body. Breath, pranayama, is considered the direct channel of this life force. Indian teachings recognized centuries ago that breath is the doorway to emotional control, to mental clarity, to vitality and spiritual awareness. The mind and brain connection here is that breathwork directly influences the vagus nerve, the heart rate variability, nervous system regulation and stress reduction. Slow rhythmic breathing shifts the brain into parasympathetic calm, reducing anxiety, improving focus, and even supporting immune function. And the key lesson is to influence the mind, begin with the breath. The fourth concept is yoga, union of body, mind, and awareness. Western societies often see yoga as physical exercise, but historically, yoga is a science of consciousness. The word yoga means union, uniting body and mind, breath and awareness, self and world, and inner and outer experience. Yoga teaches discipline, tapas, self-study, swadhyaya, mind my pronunciation again, folks, non-attachment, vairagya, and mindful living. Yoga and meditation increase grey matter density, quiet the default mode network and rumination. They enhance emotional regulation and decrease inflammation, and they promote neuroplasticity. Yoga literally reshapes the brain towards resilience and calm. So what's the lesson? Yoga teaches that the mind is trainable and peace is a practice, not an accident. The next concept, the fifth one, is Atman, self-inquiry and the nature of consciousness. Many Indian philosophies, especially the Vedic and Upanishadic traditions, explore the nature of Atman, the inner self. Atman is described as pure awareness, beyond thought, emotion, or identity, and the quiet consciousness beneath the noise of the mind. Practices like meditation, mantra, and mindfulness aim to help us experience this deeper layer, the part of us that is calm, stable, and untouched by external chaos. Modern research shows that meditation strengthens the prefrontal cortex, it reduces activity in regions linked to anxiety, it increases introspective awareness, and it restructures connectivity in the brain. Self-inquiry, the question, who am I beneath my thoughts, supports emotional clarity and reduces reactivity. And there are actually 3 lessons here. Your thoughts are not your identity. Your emotions are not your essence. And there is a deeper self beneath the surface. I have to refer to the Hawaiians again because they are very much into going really deep with regards to inner self work. The 6th concept, and you might find that familiar, is karma, action as energy. Karma is often misunderstood as punishment or reward, but in Indian philosophy, karma simply means actions have consequences, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. The emphasis is on intention, awareness, choice, and especially responsibility. Neuroscience echoes this. Repeated actions form neural pathways. Habits become identity. Intention shapes behavior. and behavior shapes the brain. Karma is psychological conditioning long before the term existed. And the lesson of that is that you are shaping your future through the habits you practice today. That reminds me of health prevention, which our health system doesn't really promote enough. Our Western health system, I have to say, not the general, because the more alternative systems are much better at this. Not the pharma-laden, pharma-dictated Western health system. So let's look again. What can Western societies learn from India's ancient teachings? To summarize this quickly, what can we learn from Dharma? Live with purpose, not pressure. What can we learn from Ahimsa? Practice compassion in thought, word, and behavior. From Prana, regulate the mind through the breath. From yoga, train the body-mind system for resilience and clarity. What can we learn from Atman meditation? Explore the deeper layers of self and awareness. And from karma, recognize the power of repeated choices. India's wisdom teaches us that well-being is a holistic journey, one that unites mind, body, values, energy, and consciousness. Indian philosophy invites us to turn inward, to breathe, observe, reflect, and live with purpose. It teaches us that peace is not found in the outside world, but cultivated through daily practice, conscious choices, and alignment with our deeper truths. And isn't it interesting to note how neuroscience and research are finding these truths nowadays and confirm what a lot of people, especially over there in India, already discovered a long time ago. And that brings us to the end of today's episode of Exploring Brain and Mind, and another part in our series of what the world can learn from ... If you enjoyed the episode, share it with others. I always encourage people to do that. And if you are not already following or have subscribed, please follow and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, and on YouTube. And join me again next week.